Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin charts. So Bitcoin on the 4 hour, as we can see, we are pushing up nicely here. It is looking like this secondary low that did wick down, take out our previous low, did fully take out the resistance and close below it before immediately reversing on the next 4 hour candle. It is looking like we are painting in at least a medium term bottom here, and well, our next important levels to take out are currently where we are now. So the bearish scenario, we are obviously at an inflection point in price action here. The bearish scenario is we get rejected anywhere basically in the vicinity of of where we are, and then if you do come back down, it would look pretty bad, but obviously breaking our way above pretty much 44,700 area, I think we'll start to look good. We'll find ourselves obviously in this area, this high volume node of previous price action. So price action will probably have to grind its way out, grind its way up gradually. That would not be the worst thing. And then what we could then have done is establish the bottom side of this range, and then we can just be looking for a few weeks of sideways, maybe even a month or so of bouncing around in this range, maybe make our way up to the upper half, bounce around the upper half before ultimately taking out the top half. Obviously my bullish optimism there, but the main thing is we will have established the range, trade within this range, and then make a decision: do we break below or do we break above? Obviously things looking a lot better than they have previously. If we want to go and look at some of the other barometers of risk within this market, you can see this Ethereum Satoshi pairing getting up to an important horizontal, which is pretty much this breakdown of this triangle, these highs here. So for it to get back above here, get back into this area, would clearly look good and show that there is emerging risk taking back in the crypto market. Similar price action here with the Satoshi pairing. We tested into our important level, bounced and then smashed through it, but quickly got back above. So yeah, making progress from where we are now, getting an inflection point, as you can see, and then things will look good. Obviously Bitcoin could start to dive again. We could then dive down in this asset, and then that would clearly not look untowards price action wise, but ever the optimist, maybe we do squeeze that way up. Bitcoin dominance also another similar barometer, as you can see, has lost this upward sloping trend line within the channel, and has also currently lost this horizontal basically, well, you could call it a support. Basically we're back below this zone. It's hard to call it support or resistance when we're just in the midst of it, but yeah, we are back below. So could we be seeing another leg down into another leg down into the end of year, down into this area? We certainly could. This is obviously my crystal ball ideal scenario, is that we do get this run up in Bitcoin into end of year, early next year to 100k plus, and then this Bitcoin dominance comes down in towards the 35%. At that point, that will be a let's get out of this and just reassess. Goldilocks scenario is still in play. I say Goldilocks, it's not like it's pure. There's this scenario that I expect and I'm playing for, but that is not to say it will happen. We shall just have to see. DXY obviously had a bit of a bounce, was looking quite weak yesterday, getting towards the lower, basically back below this area, but bounced back up. So I suspect there was overnight there was some sort of extra new Evergrande iteration of bad news that spiked us up. But yeah, looking like we are retracing this now. Stock market futures also looking pretty good here. Looking good. I mean, yeah, it's looking good. I mean, we have a trend of obviously making lows and newer highs, but we also have a trend of lows not making lower lows, and this is clearly a lower low to this low, so we are starting to get a bit wild. I mean, you can potentially see just on a longer time frame, we've just basically getting just an expansion of volatility, so that obviously did bring the low lower. It could then ultimately bring the high higher, and we could start to get the crack up boom, J-hook inflationary, hyperinflation, all that cool stuff up in towards the 5,000s. We shall have to see after a severe test, but like I said, it is going to be down to the Fed is going to burst. The Fed is basically the be all and end all of this market and all markets and everything. So it is going to be up to them when they decide. They at some point they are going to have to make a decision between do they want to exist anymore, or do they want to, or they're going to have to basically pop the market and still be of relevance. Because the longer they just keep doing what they're doing, they're basically just pointless, irrelevant, and maybe it might as well just be run by just a low level admin guy at the Treasury, just clicking buy every month. And not making any real decisions, but yeah. So stock markets recovering here. What I will say about the Evergrande situation, basically, if we are to see further downside related to this story, it is going to be my best guess is going to be the HSB domino that is going to fall. HSBC is obviously there's the 4 big state-owned Chinese banks that carry a lot of the debt that will get bailed out. The HSBC isn't, and it's pretty much hated globally. The Chinese hate it, Americans hate it, Europeans hate it, the British hate it. It is a rogue financial institution within the ether of the global elite sort of banking system. They are the odd child, the black sheep, and yeah, they're not, and yeah, they are basically carrying a lot of Evergrande debt, and they could literally collapse. And yeah, so obviously that is going to be the big question, if that is going to be a domino that does fall. If there is going to be another domino, that I'm pretty certain that is going to be it. But we shall see. It is such a crazy bank. If there's a whole episode in the Dirty Money series on Netflix about HSBC. There's such wild goings on with guys high up, chief executives in that bank just dying, committing suicide, going missing. It is a extremely strange. No, it's not an extremely strange. It's just a mafia criminal organisation. Basically, there's nothing strange about it. They're just criminals basically at that bank, and they're not the criminals that are basically in part of the club, part of the bigger criminal club. So yeah. But that is the risk. That is the risk factor, because, like I said, they won't get bailed out by anybody. And yeah, so they are winging it. They are winging it. But anyway, so what else do we want to look at here? Yeah, not too much I want to look at here. The Ethereum, the Ethereum USD pairing, similar to Bitcoin again. Everything got hit into similar levels, and we are now at similar inflection level points. Pretty much, we hit into our major level, bounced off it, took it out, broke back above strongly, and now trading higher than that previous price action area. So looking relatively bullish for more upside. That more upside doesn't need to lead to all-time highs. It just potentially leads into just a nice relief bounce, which could then turn into new all-time highs, but at present just looking like medium term local lows within a lot of assets. So yeah, I mean, Ethereum is fraught with previous price action, so high volume nodes in this area, so it will potentially grind its way up, maybe grind its way up quicker than Bitcoin if Bitcoin grinds its way up. But yeah, I feel like that we have certainly had some severe testing of our metal, some severe squeaky bum time, and yeah, just what markets do. I mean, markets will not make it easy for you. A lot of people would have sold out here or gone short, and potentially they are fuel for the next leg up. What else do we want to look at? There is not too much here, so we will go back and look at Bitcoin stochastics. The 4 hour, moving up nicely here. Did basically help us get that move up that we've had at the moment. And then obviously now we need these. We need a reset of these. We need these higher time frames to move up. I suspect 10 hours clearly moving up now. But yeah, 10 hours moving up from a very low level, with a lot of room to run. So this could give us some serious support, at least support to hold these lows, the lows that we put in recently. 12 hour also turning up from an extremely low level, so it's all to play for on the 12 hour. And daily gonna potentially turn up, potentially held a trend line here from a very low level. These could all converge if price action does start to get above that. We'll just call it 45,000 just for sake of rounding up. These 10-12 hour daily are going to start to give us some serious upside help to say the least. Two-day as well, similar story as well, could start to turn up. 3-day diving, but of longer time frame, it will eventually turn up if we do get the move up. It will, the other ones will feed through. 5-day doing its thing, weekly still up, bi-weekly obviously got all the way to move up, and monthly we'll just check monthly just for the sake of completions. It looks the same as it will do, but yeah, so we are like I said, we are at an inflection point. We get back above and hold above 45,000. These are going to start moving up. We are gonna well, like I've been saying, we are gonna have most likely, at the very least, establish the lower part of this range, establish the upper part of the range, and bounce around this range with a meandering sort of price action, how price action moves, kind of like this look, and then kind of back down. We are potentially going to do that for a bit, for maybe a couple of weeks, maybe longer, but ultimately the target being the top, because we hit the bottom. And yeah, I mean, sideways altcoins will probably have a nice run at that point, and then yeah, we just decide when we're at the top, do we break out to the upside? When we're at the bottom, do we break down to the downside? Yeah, I mean, trading is very hard, but you can try and make it. You can just try and zoom out, try and just look for that emerging trend, that sort of channel, that price action channel, and then just use that edge to see if you can. Yeah, just see if that can basically help you predict where price action is gonna go. So yeah, a bit vague and waffly at the end of that, but yeah, things on the whole looking better at an important level. Get back above here, we are gonna look good for basically a maintaining of this range, an establishment of this range, and then we just spend a few weeks in it before ultimately, maybe a few weeks, maybe longer, for ultimately breaking out. I mean, it could be to the upside. It very easily could be to the upside, and it very easily could be to the downside. We very easily could just be putting in a lower high relative to our high, and we are going to grind this out and then come down and take out the lows, take out these lows and put in a lower low. We could very easily do that, or similarly we could very easily just be taking out this and then continuing onwards to new highs. I have a bias which is probably based on somewhat my bias is somewhat biased, but yeah, we shall have to see. So yeah, there we go, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.